Good afternoon and namaste. Our chief guest, Dr. Ramasami, Dr. Arun Patel, our PhD coordinator, CHARUSAT family members, faculty members and research scholars. I welcome all of you to the much awaited scholarly interaction session between our chief guest, Dr. Ramaswamy, and CHARUSAT research scholars. Sir, it is a tradition in CHARUSAT that such an interactive meeting is organized as a sequel to the convocation. This bright idea was mooted by none other than our former scientist Prime Minister Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam himself when he was here to address our first convocation on 18th January 2012. To our research scholars who are not there, I would just like to tell a brief about Dr. Ramaswamy. Dr. Ramaswamy, born in 1948, after the independence, obtained his BTech degree in 1969, MTech degrees from University of Madras, and PhD from University of Leeds, UK, for his work on chemistry of chromium. He worked at the Ames Laboratory and Wayne State Laboratory University and University of Newcastle on Tyne on research areas relating to homogeneous catalysis, electron transport phenomena, and inorganic chemistry respectively. Thereafter, he came back to India. He joined Central Leather Research Institute, Chennai in 1984, worked as its director from 1996 to 2006, and till recently was the secretary to the Government of India, Department of Science and Technology, well known as DST. That is for 8 long years, 2006 to 2014. During his 8 years as a stint at DST, Dr. Ramasamy was instrumental in its budget increase that jumped several folds and launch of many new programs. For his exemplary services for Indian science, he was recently honored with Padma Bhushan award by the President of India. He was also holding the additional charges as the Director General of the CSIR. Earlier, he was also awarded India's National Civilian Honor Padma Shri for his excellence in science and engineering 2001. He was also awarded the Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award, the highest award for science in India, for notable outstanding research in chemical sciences in 1993. He has guided more than 30 students for doctoral research, authored more than 220 research publications, 8 chapters in books, and numerous journal articles. He holds 37 patents, of which 12 have been commercialized. Big long list. In this labyrinth of awards, accolades, fellowships, publications, lectures and meetings, one thing that stands out is Dr. Ramaswamy's insistence for socially relevant innovation and research. I'll tell you, he's one of the persons who have been mooting this idea always. In one of his interviews in 2012, he says, I quote, "As it exists today, innovation maximizes returns to the investors and innovators. It should rather focus on common man. These are not mere words. Friends, he leads from the front." Dr. Ramaswamy's contributions to the solution of environmental problems in the leather sector in Tamil Nadu resulted in savings of 250,000 jobs, must be much more, and an annual industrial turnover of 6,000 crores. In recognition of his contribution to the leather research, he was invited to deliver the Arthur Wilson Memorial Lecture. It's a very, very reputed lecture. Dr. Ramaswamy, sir, I extend a warm welcome to you. Vanakkam. Sir, just to brief you, CHARUSAT started its PhD programs. CHARUSAT, of course you've heard in the morning, CHARUSAT began in July 2009 a university status. In 2010, January, we started our PhD program. And currently, CHARUSAT has 235 research scholars registered for PhD, with 57 in Faculty of Applied Sciences, 13 in Faculty of Management Studies, 29 in Pharmacy, 103 in Faculty of Engineering Technology, 17 in Computer Applications, and of all the things, 8 in Medical Sciences. And out of these, you'll be glad to know 65 of the candidates are the faculties of CHARUSAT. We actually provided some special incentives to the faculties to register as PhD so that they could improve their value addition to their research. We admit PhD students twice a year, January and July. And here we have some of our research scholars in front of you, and I will not stand anywhere more. I now request Dr. Ramasami to address the research scholars. Dr. Ramasami, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Patidar. We'll do some innovation. Instead of my addressing you, let me take some questions from you first. And based on the types of questions that you ask, then I'll probably synthesize an address which will probably address some of your concerns. Can I take some questions directly without my addressing anyone of you? Something must be foremost in your mind. Let us ask what is foremost in your mind of those who are undertaking doctoral research in the recent years in this country. Because interaction really means two-way street. And let that begin from your side rather than my side.
Sir, yesterday I received one science career news kind of thing from elsewhere. There they have mentioned that out of the, it's a global scenario what they have mentioned, that out of all the PhD holders, maximum 15% are only able to get academic job. And those who are going in industry or they wish to go, they are facing one biggest problem about the technical skill. So can you please address over that skills orientation and whatever PhD work, why they are not merging during that PhD?
Sure. Okay. I'll take, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take 3 questions at a time. And then take this. It's another innovation. And more than 3 I might forget, you may forget. So, anything else? Okay, I'll start with this, then we will develop this further. The question that has been posed is the opportunities for doctoral research degree holders in academic functions is about 15%. Then the other 85% will have to find other receiving bodies for them to be using their training, skills, expertise, and so on. And the other possible employer could be industry. But industry finds, according to her, not mine, that the training or the expertise pool that some of our doctoral research students would have do not meet the requirement of the industry. And therefore, there's a mismatch between the supply of doctoral graduates and the demand for the similar process. Either the supply is more or the demand is in the wrong direction. So she is asking this question, how do we match them? Did you say it's global phenomenon or did you say Indian?
Yeah, it is, no, it is like in elsewhere news, elsewhere science, that is science direct.
Oh, Elsevier.
Elsevier.
Okay. Yes. Well, when it is Elsevier news, take it with a pinch of salt. Because Elsevier is a private publishing house. They look at many things from the market force standpoint. Okay. Several years ago, when we were young researchers, we won't review papers published by Elsevier journals. And we would say, we will review American Chemical Society, Royal Society, the society journals, but Elsevier, because they used to pay money to publish a paper in those days. So that's a different process. Let me not now get into this discussion. fundamentally, let me rephrase it only in the Indian context. Let me not now open up the world at large. Just to give you an illustration, 1981, the total number of PhDs produced in science and engineering by India was 4,300, and China was 281. In 1996, India produced 5,300 PhDs in science and engineering, and China produced 5,300 in science and engineering. And I went to Delhi in 2006. India was still producing 5,300 PhDs in engineering. They went to 18,000. And then we were asking why. He said that we have a limited outputs. The total full-time equivalent scientists of India in 2003 was 134,000. Full-time equivalent scientists was 1.34 lakhs. Full-time equivalent calculation will vary. There's a global phenomenon, global methods. Somebody who teaches in university, the undergraduate course, you have to teach a heavy undergraduate responsibility, then a faculty member in such institutions will be counted as 40% available for science research. IIT, for example, will be 40%. Institute of Science will be more like 60%, 60, 66, 65%. CSIR labs, BRC will be 100% because they don't do anything else. So this is how the full-time equivalent calculations get done. And in a college where a teacher is teaching 20 hours of in a week courses in this process, there will be somewhat less than 5% is the research time. This is how the world computes those numbers. So then every time these days people talk about China is doing so much, India is not doing so much. It's usual. China claims they have 2.2 million full-time researchers in their country, and US was 1.42 million. India at the moment is 1.7 lakhs. So you have approximately scientist head-to-head ratio is 1 to 9. That's a number. So if India needs to perform better than China, then Indian scientists must produce at least 9 times more papers than they do, and that's not easy. So let us not get into these comparisons. But if you have 1.7 lakhs or 1.5 lakh scientists per system, 4% of the people will retire and leave the system at any given time. So essentially, 6,000 new jobs in research will be created in this country. That will include jobs in industry, jobs in the government, jobs in the labs, jobs in academic institutions, and so on. So the total number of research-oriented jobs in India until 10 years ago was about 5,000, 6,000 per year. And you are only getting 5,000, 6,000 new jobs for researchers, which includes sometimes even non-PhDs involved. What will happen is younger people with the talent will go to call centers and make money, become millionaires before they are 25. After 40, they don't know what to do with the millions they earned. And they get burnt out. So the research, you got a longer time for preparations. You have to do PhD, and then you have to do some postdoc and get trained and so on. So people were losing interest in doing research. This was a problem. Now we take the last 10 years. I'm not speaking for any particular government, so don't mistake me. I served in this government, the previous government, for a long length of period, and I was been part of this new programs. India built 61 new institutions, built up 5 ISERs in science education research, 8 new IITs, 12 central universities and triple ITs and so on. And we created in the process something like 30,000 new jobs for researchers in this process, and that's how one adoption happened. And some people have come back to this country again. So given those parameters, if you have some 5,000, 6,000, even now it's 1.7 lakh is our full-time equivalent scientists in this country. So we have something like 6,000, 7,000 new jobs will be on a stabilized situation you will get. What has happened in the last 7, 8 years was after I went to Delhi, I was traveling from my department to Prime Minister's office, and there was some strike in Jawaharlal Nehru University, Department of Science in the institutional area. So I asked my driver in 2006, hey, what is the problem? The driver told me, sir, Jawaharlal Nehru University are always on strike. And that is their opinion they faced. So he stopped for a minute. So I went to these kids and asked, what's the problem? He said, sir, we are doing PhD and we get no strike. So what is your demand? We are asking 1,500 rupees for sustaining their system, because we can't depend on our parents even doing PhD. It's a sensible argument. Then I went to the record and found only 16% people doing PhD were getting the CSIR UGC scholarship in this country. Okay? And that's a very difficult situation. And we decided therefore to expand the support system for all those who are doing PhD in this country. Minimum support of 5,000 rupees. The system, 100%. That was done by the UGC. Then we were paying 8,000 rupees a month as a scholarship for doing PhD for those who pass the exam. So we tried to raise it. And the Ministry of Finance raised the objection. These are unemployed people, why do you have to owe them the money? They are you so unemployed people. So I took this file and went to the Secretary of Finance and asked, Sanjeev, do you have a daughter or a son who has studied MSc? And they said, we are asking. So you ask your son or a daughter who studied MSc whether she or he would be happy with 8,000 rupees compensation per month for whatever they do. He asked, what is your problem? I want to raise this scholarship amount. His 8,000 looks very small and your colleagues are saying no. Okay, put up the file, I will redo this. So I put up the file. And his officers in Finance Ministry raised objection again. So 2 months, 3 months passed, and I asked Sanjeev, nothing is happening. He said, Dr. Ramasami, every dog has a tail. And that tail is crooked. No longer, how long you put that straight tail into a straight tube, the tail will be curved only. My department is a tail with a curved tail. It's a dog with a curved tail. It doesn't get straightened, but I will correct it. Finally, we raised it retrospectively from 2006 April to 12,000. And then we raised it again in another year or to 16,000. And more recently, they have taken a decision to raise it to 29,000. Okay? And this is for those who contributed in this exam system. Fortunately, the number of PhDs now has reached from 5,300 to 9,800 output from this country. And we have created some absorption capacity by way of the 61 new institutions which have happened. So those people are getting those jobs. But what happens in these kinds of expansion, there will always be this kinetic theory of gases will operate. If you expand something, the concentration will get diluted, the quality will suffer. Okay? So the PhD training also in that sense is a problem. In 2003, the total number of PhDs produced by India in computer sciences as a country was 33. India was claimed to be IT superpower. This IT superpower produced 33 PhDs in computer science in 2003. So my brother teaches in IIT Madras, so I went to, one of these days I went to IIT Madras, and I went to his house, and there was lots of young students, BTech students from IIT Madras in his house. And you guys, what is this? Why are you going in this? 200 fellows registered for PhD from Indian origin and computer science in the US, in one university.